Hey, you found us. This is Grassroots. To understand grassroots, you really have to have perspective. And perspective can come in so many different forms. But for today, what is germane to grassroots is the perspective of evolution. And what we're going to be talking about for the first part is evolution and how it relates to the education, particularly here in the United States, of our children. For millions of years, and 99% of our existence here on Earth, children did not go to school. They learned and explored together in a community that we would now call hunter-gatherers. If an infant cried, the closest person would comfort it. Toddlers would wander off with their friends without any adult supervision. Meltdowns, whining, they didn't exist. There was no structure. There was no schedule. There was no transitions like there is in a school today. They existed in an environment and succeeded because they were living in an environment that their evolution dictated. We are at an amazing time right now. So we are at a point where technology and advances in science have allowed us to see how our brains truly work. Through science, we now know that the environment that the hunter-gatherer lived in is ideal. For instance, for a little baby, the neuroscience shows that the stimulus provided in touch, expressions, voice is paramount to brain development. For toddlers, they're forming 1,000 neuron connections per second. They're addicted to exploring, investigating, and connecting with their world. The traditional schools of today, the adult-driven instruction, the brick-and-mortar buildings, is truly in infancy in terms of evolution. This paradigm is the result of agriculture, religion, nationalism, immigration, and abuse. Physical punishment of students, once flaunted, has morphed into a more PC punishment known as grades and SAT scores. Our entire public school system ignores evolution and neuroscience. The result is a generation of anxiety-filled, unregulated, and ill-prepared children. So in response, Grassroots was created applying science and evolution as the groundwork. My students and I are typically outside, normally barefoot if the weather's okay, doing what we want to do. I work the property as the children explore. They build, play, eat, and sleep as they decide. They direct their day and negotiate with each other and form little social democracies. 5-year-olds will show the 3-year-olds how to construct a roof on a fort, or a 3-year-old will give a bottle to an infant. The babies watch and imitate and enjoy everything around them. What we've created is a mini hunter-gatherer world, and it works because that's how children's brains are meant to learn. Education is all based on creating the right environment. So how do we create the right environment? What are the tricks to create a world in which children can be in their hunter-gatherer mode and learn? Well, the first part is the environment. You need an area, ideally where they can go inside and outside as much as possible, where it's safe, where there are trees and logs and a bunch of nature to play with. If a child has a stump and 300 pine cones, they're going to turn those pine cones into little queens and kings, or families, or horses. You don't need toys. You just need an environment and a situation where they can pick up a stick and that stick becomes a magic wand, or a fire when they're going camping. They are so programmed to use their imagination and creativity. You just have to provide the environment. Second thing is, kids were meant to learn with multiple ages. When you put, 10 3-year-olds in a room, they're all probably going to fight over the same toy. But when you sit there and you introduce babies up to 5-year-olds in a preschool, the dynamics changes completely. The 5-year-olds rise to the occasion and teach the babies, and the babies are entertained endlessly. One of the third things that you should do is make sure that it's child-directed play. Again, their imaginations and their creativity will take hold. You don't have to sit there as a teacher and say, oh, it's September. We're going to talk about apples. No, you should be sitting there and honoring the different modes of how they learn, whether it's nature, visual, musical, logistic, linguistic, and all the other ones. And putting props or maybe introducing a subject that might spur that particular student's interest. One student who's musical might walk through the door. Oh, let's do a concert. And then all of a sudden, a pine cone becomes a microphone. Use your imagination. Give a little seed here or there as to what might be good. And then the kids take over. It is so simple. We have a lot of ideas to share. And most of it is just going back to the very simple idea of us honoring how we learn. I look forward to all the times that we have ahead of us. Thank you.